What is up, everybody? It's BMax Bracketology, and I'm back with another video. Little different video today. I'm just going to be giving my opinion on the bubble. Since it's been a couple days, I've been able to really kind of understand why they chose some of the teams that they put in, some of the teams they left out. I didn't want to get this out right away just because I know it was going to be a little emotional, just because I wanted to see some teams in. But, now that I've had a couple of days to look upon it, it's really not that bad. And then I'm just going to be predicting my the first four games for tonight and tomorrow. And then I'll be posting the full bracket predictions tomorrow. So if you want to get in on that, I'm sorry I didn't get to post that bubble video or the last bracketology. Just didn't have enough time. I was busy on Sunday. But if you want to check out my Twitter, bmaxbrackets57. It should be on there, somewhere down there. I was posting a lot throughout Selection Sunday, so sorry about that if it's hard to find. So let's just get into the bubble right away. The last four in were Texas, Xavier, San Diego State, and North Carolina. And then the first four out were West Virginia, Indiana, Ohio State, and Boise State. I'm just going to try to eliminate teams. That's what I'm going to do. Ohio State just did not have a good enough year. They lost way too many games, 17-15. I completely understand that. Boise State, they beat Clemson. They beat St. Mary's, I believe. They had some good wins. But ultimately they had some quad 3 and quad 4 losses that I ultimately think was a good reason to leave them out. Their resume was in the 50s on average. Their predictions were in the upper 40s. This team was just not a tournament team. I would have loved to see Dagenhart play in the tournament, but this was just not a tournament team. So, I eliminated those two, but I still don't understand how they left West Virginia out. I still don't understand that. They beat Gonzaga in the battle for Atlantis. I believe they beat Arizona as well. They beat good quality teams down there, guys. North Carolina, their only good win was against who was it? Gosh, why can I not think? UCLA, and they shouldn't have even won that game. UCLA threw that game away for them. North Carolina, one thing about North Carolina is their resume metrics were really close to Texas, Xavier, San Diego State, and West Virginia, and I don't know how. I genuinely don't know how their resume metrics were even close to them. Their only good win was UCLA. They beat Pittsburgh at home. They beat Wake Forest at home. They lost to Stanford at home, which is a quad 3 game. I'm sorry, but this North Carolina team, I honestly, when you look at just the games they played, they should have not been in the tournament. But when you look at the resume metrics, I think it's fine, and their predictives, just because they were 31st on average between KenPom, T-Rank, and BPI. So I don't hate that. But, they looked at the wins above bubble. They were in the tournament. If you looked upon that, don't know how. We might need to fix that because it's the first year, and if we're talking about wins above bubble and they only had one win against a tournament team, are we sure that they're ahead of all these other teams, especially Boise State, even though they beat two teams that were above the bubble? I don't understand that ranking system at all. But, okay, so my predictions were the last four in were West Virginia, Indiana, San Diego State, and North Carolina. I had Texas and Xavier out. Texas had a great week in the SEC. They have a lot of good wins, a couple bad losses. Their resume is not great when you look at it in terms, but when you look at the teams they beat some good teams. So I'm not skeptical of getting Texas in at all. Xavier, they beat some good teams as well. They killed Creighton at home. I'm a Creighton fan. That hurt my heart. That was a rough game to watch. They beat Marquette at home. They had a little bit of struggles on the road. They should have beat St. John's on the road, but they kind of choked that. Fremantle was injured throughout the year, so maybe that's kind of what skewed them, just because two of their bigger games on the year they didn't have them and they barely lost. I think Texas and Xavier are easily tournament teams, but were their resumes great? I don't think so. But they got in. I'm not going to hit on that. San Diego State also got in. Totally deserving. Their resume was good enough. That Houston win really carried them over. And they beat Creighton. They beat some tournament quality teams. They did lose to Boise State in the Mountain West tournament, so a lot of people were like, where's Boise State not in? San Diego State is in. Boise State just beat them. It's like, well, you have to kind of look at more than just one conference tournament game, which is kind of why I think I thought they were going to lean heavy on it, because they leaned heavy on how good Texas and Xavier and San Diego and North Carolina have been playing. And they kind of hated on the way West Virginia and Indiana ended their seasons, but Boise State ended their season great. So I really don't know how they came up with this formula if they just looked at the net. But then, I don't understand how they did this. I don't understand how they left West Virginia out. I don't understand how they left Indiana out. They had significantly good wins. Indiana went on the road and beat Michigan State. There's not a lot of teams that did that this year. I don't even remember on another team who's done that. Like and West Virginia. I mean, those two teams just got absolutely screwed. West Virginia especially. Those two teams were, and the committee guy goes, "Oh, Tucker DeFreeze wasn't available." It's like, are we serious? This dude hasn't played since December 6th. And that's the reason why we're not letting West Virginia in. I understand that they lost to Colorado in the conference tournament, which is maybe why, they weren't playing good, but it's not just one game defines your season. And I genuinely do think that the committee chose North Carolina just because they wanted to hide the fact that they put 14 SEC teams in. They didn't want that to be the main thing. They wanted that North Carolina's in. They didn't want to take the burden for all the SEC teams that they got in, and they didn't want to, but so they took the burden on North Carolina getting in. And, Chris Walker from CBS Sports Network made a great point. The SEC did great in the non-conference play, but once you get to conference play, that's all you guys are playing. The fact that you got that the SEC on any given night is you can get a quad one win if you go on the road and beat somebody is just a little insane to me. Like, I don't understand. Like, I understand Texas getting in, but they had good wins, but they had so many opportunities. Like, they had the opportunities to get those wins. As teams as North Carolina, they didn't. I mean, they got their opportunities, but not in conference play. Not when they were playing their best. They were playing their best over the past couple of weeks. Texas had the opportunity, but I don't know, guys. The bubble this year was just bad. Like, none of these teams would have made it last year. Not a prayer. None of these teams would have even had a prayer to make it last year. Last year's tournament was great. Unfortunately, Indiana State got left out for Virginia, but, that's a different topic. So let's just get into the first four games. I went on a little rant there. I'm sorry about that. I just wanted to give out my predictions. So my final predictions would have been West Virginia, Indiana, San Diego State, and North Carolina. Actually, no, not North Carolina. Xavier. Those would have been my final four. I would have had Texas and North Carolina out. Didn't love their ability. But I had North Carolina in during the bubble, but Xavier kind of opened my eyes a little bit on how good this team actually is. So that would have been mine. I would have left North Carolina and Texas out. But, you never know, even though Texas was way higher than everybody else. So let's just get into the first games, first four games. We got the 16th seed St. Francis taking on the 16th seed Alabama State tonight. I don't think people understand how amazing it was that St. Francis was able to make the tournament. I mean, this Central Connecticut team was good that they beat, and they caught them on a rough night. Really, really good time to cover it. They got Riley Parker, who's an absolute stud. Love his game. Then Alabama State, led by Madlock, solid head coach. His son is one of the better players on their team. I think he averages around 10. Very, very good rebounder, too. I think the difference in this game is, neither one of these teams shoot the ball really well. None of these teams really rebound the ball very well. But Alabama State takes care of the ball at one of the best rates in the country. They do not turn the ball over. And the fact that they can get those extra possessions that maybe St. Francis might not, I just like that ability there. I'm gonna roll with the 16th seed Alabama State, and then they're just gonna get whacked by Auburn. So it's fun to get that game in, but it's gonna be a rough game next week. And then we got the 11 seed San Diego State versus the 11 seed North Carolina. This game is sincerely just gonna come down to, can North Carolina's guards just outplay San Diego State's great defense? Because interiorly, Van Allen Lubin is going to have a hard time scoring. Guath is one of the best shot blockers in the nation. He's going to have a amazing time going against Van Allen Lubin. This North Carolina team is going to have no inside presence this game tonight. I really do genuinely think that it's going to come down to, can R.J. Davis, Elliot Cadeau, Seth Trimble, Ian Jackson be enough? I think they can. But the one thing about Elliot Cadeau is that he makes a lot of offense. He has a lot of assists, but he turns the ball over a lot. And San Diego State loves forcing turnovers. I think the San Diego State guards like Davis, Bird, Boyd are going to make North Carolina's guards really uncomfortable. They're going to put a lot of pressure on them. And North Carolina's defense I don't necessarily love. I think North Carolina's been playing really, really good recently, but San Diego State's had a couple days to rest their legs. They're going to play hard. They're going to be ready to play. Give me the 11 seed San Diego State to win this one. And then I honestly genuinely think whoever wins between the Aztecs and the Tar Heels will beat Ole Miss in the first round. And then we got the 16 seed American versus 16 seed Mount St. Mary's. Both these teams shoot the ball pretty well. Mount St. Mary's been on a crazy run in their conference tournament. They're the 6th seed. I like their ability. I had them beating Marist, but then I had them losing to Merrimack just because of Clark. But, this Mount St. Mary's team is good, guys. They got a lot of players who can score. Adebayo, Hobbs, Ard, Cordilla, Pacheco. And then they got Lipscomb, Xavier Lipscomb. He's got the name of 2 NCAA tournament teams, which is pretty cool. Saw on Twitter the other day. I really do think that this game, these teams are kind of similar. I think Mount St. Mary's is a little more physical. They're going to get after it more. But I think the main difference in this game, and I hate to really go down this route, but one team has Matt Rogers and one team doesn't. And the team that has Matt Rogers is American. Dude is an absolute stud. Like, he's a 3-level scorer. This dude is insane. The fact that they got him to stay is amazing. And Stevens is such a quick guard. Jones is really, really solid. I think this team isn't as deep, but I think Matt Rogers is going to take this team to the next round to just get absolutely obliterated. That's the kind of sad thing about these 16 seeds is that the 1 seeds are so good this year. They have no hope. Like, I feel so bad for them. They're going to get crushed by Duke. But, roll American, baby. And then in the last game, we got the 11 seed Texas versus the 11 seed Xavier. Both these teams can really fill it up offensively, guys. This is going to be a high-scoring game. There are NBA draft prospects on this court. Trey Johnson, Ryan Conwell, Zach Fremantle. I mean, those guys are legit players. When I say legit players. I think this is just going to come down to whose offense can create more for their team. And I genuinely do think Xavier's offense is better. Conwell, Fremantle. I watched them play against Creighton, and they were lighting us up. Swain is such a good defender. McKnight, Foster, Maddox can really fill it up. This team is really deep. I love their ability. Texas, I like them a lot too, guys. They got Johnson, Kaluma, Pope, Mark, Shedrick, Weaver, Kent, Larry. Larry has a little bit trouble taking care of the ball. But they're an excellent rebounding team, but Xavier does not allow a lot of offensive rebounds. I think Texas is going to be a little uncomfortable. They get a little turnover happy sometimes. So I'm going to roll with the 11 seed Xavier to win this one. And then I honestly think that whoever wins this game beats Illinois. So I think whoever wins these first 4 games are going to win their next game. I genuinely do think that. I think Illinois is a little inexperienced. Maybe if Texas wins, I might not roll with Texas. But if Xavier wins, I think they will beat Illinois. So those are my predictions for the first 4 tonight and tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I got really nothing else for you. I'm going to make my predictions for the whole March Madness bracket tomorrow. Twitter's BMaxBrackets57, so go check that out. I'll put the link in the description for that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get notifications of every time I post. That's all I got for you guys today. BMax Bracketology out. God bless everyone.